Okay, can we start?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a doubt.
Tell me.
So, sir, can we quote the recent, like the current examples in the news for the suicide thing, or for any topic in the sociology?
Yes.
Like for the recent.
Yes, you can add all these current examples. You know what you need to add here. So even when we talk about depressions and all, how is it created? It is basically from society, all these depressions and everything is created. So the actual reason is social, and people commit suicide. That psychological factors are some impulse, and you can quote the recent examples, and it is required actually. And
Sir, is it fine to write the name of the person or any celebrity or any personality?
you can write you can write the names, no problem. You need to write also. So this
Sir,
year,
one more thing. Yes, sir, tell me.
and this year the question is expected. Suicide, you will get a question for sure.
And so one more thing, these terms social morphology, sociology, etc. These are yet to be covered, or it has been covered already in undertaking.
Which one?
Social morphology, social physiology, and general sociology.
No, that things when we discussed about the scope of sociology, I have told you these are some divisions. We will see that.
Sir, yesterday I was reading about scope of this only. So I was seeing a lecture. You said that you will be covering this under
we will discuss that. But there is nothing much to discuss. Social morphology means it's all about the shape, structure, etc. of society, and that all will be coming under the social institutions, etc. The way you live, the housing patterns, the food they eat, all these are social morphology means. But not necessarily separate discussion is required for that particular topic. For just writing the scope of sociology, I have given some points there. Apart from that, you will get a lot of other content, and the same content also from this thinkers discussion. That's not part of the theories anyway. But from the theories, you will get idea about all those things. Yes, Junaid, tell me.
Sir, suicide committed by a migrant workers' family during pandemic. It will come in anomic.
Migrant laborers.
Migrant families.
Migrant families suicide
during pandemic. It will come in anomic.
Anomy means a state of normlessness. So it won't come under anomy. Anomy suicide is different. So this can be like maybe it can be egoistic also, because they think that they may not be able to survive, so they are feeling isolated. Okay, so it can be that, or it may also due to the strict regulations. So it can be altruistic also. So it could be a combination. So you should be in a position to explain whether it is a single cause or is it a multiple cause. Can you explain in terms of egoistic only or fatalistic because of regulations? It can be any of the combination also, right? For example, when we talked about, tell me, are you able to hear me? You're not able to listen to me? So for example, when we discussed about the Protestant and Catholics, right? Protestants have more rate of suicide. The reason is actually, Protestantism, they don't give much emphasis to church, or the priest cannot do much to the believers. But in Catholicism, the priest actually can help them, in case of any troubles. The Catholic religion, people can go to the priest and they can confess, and then their problems, everything can be solved. So all these are there. So you can see a much more integration when it comes to Catholic religion, and that integration is not there when it comes to Protestants. Everything has to be done by yourself, and it is basically belief in your side. You believe in God, but no mediations are there. So integration is very less when it comes to Protestant religion. Like that only. So here also they may feel that they are less integrated. Tell me.
The suicide committed by Sushant Singh Rajput. So that will come under egoistic.
That is definitely egoistic suicide. He is feeling alienated. And he feel like that desperation, failure, indignation, everything is there. And we actually don't know the exact reason of suicide. We cannot say it is because of lack of opportunities. We cannot say any specific reason, but still it will come under egoistic. Whatever it is, the possibility is that it will come under egoistic suicide.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Fine.
Yeah. And somebody was asking the Muslims case like jihad and all. There is no need to write about all those things. That is not altruism. You're not doing it for the society or anything. So that is an entirely different concept. Let's not discuss about that. Unnecessarily don't want to write all these things in your paper. Okay, people may say it is altruistic, but I don't think that you're doing it for you're embracing death for the society or you're embracing death for the community. It is not required. You don't want to give that kind of examples. Okay. Any other doubts? So till yesterday, suicide was just like hanging, consuming poison, or people taking their own life. That's it. But yesterday onwards, you might have got a different perspective towards suicide, right? And that's what we will write when it comes to Durkheim, something which is considered as psychological till then. Once Durkheim took up the analysis, it became sociological. Similarly, when we discussed about division of labor, it was considered as purely economic, something to do with the production, productivity, profitability, etc. But once Durkheim took up the analysis, it became sociological. And today what we are going to do is religion. Religion is more or like, it is understood mostly in terms of intellectual, and more explanations were in terms of intellectual or philosophical. But Durkheim explained religion in terms of social terms. That's what we are going to see today. So if you don't have any other doubts, can we proceed with the theory of religion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shubham?
Yes, sir, no doubts.
Okay. So, theory of religion. Okay, so firstly you can talk about, in case if you are getting this question, whether it is critically analyzed. Already you know something to critically analyze. Which person you will use here to critically analyze Durkheim? You know Durkheim is going to talk about the functions of religion. So which person you will use to criticize Durkheim firstly?
So, non-positives like Weber?
No, not non-positivist. You will definitely use Marx. You have to use Marx here, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
you will use Marx, and Marx saying religion is opium of masses, hurt of hurtless world, soul of soulless condition. It's just opiating the masses. So here Durkheim is a functionalist. So you keep in mind that you are going to use Marx here. So everywhere you can see, compare Marx versus Durkheim in the concept of religion, in the concept of division of labor, in the concept of alienation. Everywhere you will see this kind of comparisons rather than asking this theory directly. So first you need to talk about Durkheim in a functionalist perspective, then you need to write the dysfunctions or the Marxist or the conflict perspective. Okay, so here when we talk about religion, till then religion was like a philosophy related topic, or basically Durkheim rejected all those intellectual and philosophical explanations of religion, and he proposed a sociological theory of religion, and it is purely sociological theory. Okay, so in his definition of religion, so what we need to do whenever we discuss anything about a particular topic, when it comes to Durkheim, we first define. Right, so we first define. So I'll tell you what is the definition, and then we will try to identify the cause, and then we will try to identify the function. Now, why the separation of cause and function is there? Can anybody tell me, Tejashwini? Why the separation? You asked me this yesterday, and I have explained this.
Ideology, because of ideology.
Yeah, to avoid that illegitimate teleology. So you have to separate the cause and function. Right, and then what is the fourth step? What else will be there in this theory? There will be abnormal forms, right? So he'll talk about abnormal forms, but here in religion we don't want to specifically write about abnormal form. We can still talk about religious conflicts, etc. But these are the three parts which I am focusing on in this theory. So when we talk about definition of religion, now just understand the definition of religion. There he is actually talking about function also. Okay, so religion is a set of beliefs and practices related to sacred things. So what is religion? Religion is basically a set of beliefs. So we need to tell what you mean by beliefs. Then religion is also related to practices. So religion is a set of beliefs and practices related to what? Sacred things. Now you need to say what is sacred. Sacreds are those things which are kept outside the individual and are considered forbidden or fetishes by the individual. That is kept apart. So sacred things are something which is kept apart from individual and are considered forbidden. So what is religion? Religion is basically a set of beliefs and practices related to sacred things. Sacred things are those things which are set apart from individual. Now second part he explained in this definition itself. Second part basically he is explaining the function also. Okay, those people who follow the beliefs and practices will be bound together into a single moral community called church. So this is a definition. Church means he is using the word church. It is actually signifying religion. So basically what is the function? Those people who follow the same beliefs and practices, they are bound together in a particular community, and it is actually integrating those people. For example, those who follow the Hindu beliefs and practices, they all are together, right? So that's the second part of the definition. So I'll come to this definition later. So this is about the definition. Now you can actually get a question here, short note from this topic itself, since he discussed about this word sacred. Okay, so what is sacred? So the question can be like this. You can see the previous year papers, sacred and profane, short note, sacred and profane. So you should be, the way you will write the answer is, you start with Durkheim. He gave this concept in his theory of religion. He defined religion like this. So you write the definition of religion as we have discussed here, right? So religion is defined as a set of beliefs and practices related to sacred things, and then explain sacred. Then it is not necessary that you need to explain the second part of the definition at this point of time. Okay, so then you can explain what is sacred things. Sacreds are those things which are kept outside or apart from individual, and individual consider these as forbidden or fetishes, and it is having supernatural power. So what is sacred? Sacreds are those supernatural forces like God. When we talk about sacred, I mean the God, right? So now how individual interact with sacred? Through certain practices. Okay, the beliefs means what? The ideas that people carry in mind related to the sacred. So we basically discussed about beliefs here and practices here, right? So beliefs means the ideas that we carry about sacred. So the ideas that we carry in our mind related to the God, that is the beliefs. What are the practices? Practices can still be identified as, the rituals, rites, etc. that you follow when you interact with God. And there can be two types of practices, positive, or when we talk about practices, I have told you, these are the rites or rituals, right? So it can be positive and it can be negative. Positive rites and negative rites. Positive means, for example, worshipping. So when you worship, what actually happening is the distance between God and you is actually coming down. So you can directly talk to God. So it is already considered as forbidden, and it is considered as supernatural, and it is considered away from the individual. But when you worship the God, what is actually happening? The distance is reducing, and you are basically talking to God in your own terms, right? But when it comes to negative rites, what I mean to say here is, for example, if you talk about fasting, okay, fasting or sacrifices, etc. So this will actually reinforce the distance between you and the sacred or God, right? So sacred means those things which are supernatural, those things which are considered forbidden, those things which are kept apart from individual, and you treat them as fetishes, nothing but God. So the belief that you carry in, the ideas, the set of ideas, etc. that you carry in mind with respect to sacred is what I mean by beliefs. Okay, and practices means it can be positive, it can be negative. Practice means the way you interacting with the God. It can be positive, it can be negative. This much is clear? Okay. Any problem with the voice? Any problem with voice or connection?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm expecting this much is clear. Now everything else is profane. For example, if not supernatural, you go to a temple, you see a pipe or tap over there to wash your hands or wash your legs, etc. All these other things which are not supernatural are considered as profane. Okay, so now this concept of sacred and profane brings Durkheim's concept of society. So in Durkheim's concept of society, it is based on a sacred and a profane. When we discussed about Marxian concept of society, we have explained in terms of what? Can somebody tell me this? Marxian idea about society comprised of what? Two keywords is what I am looking for. You cannot forget it. Yeah, economic infrastructure and social superstructure, right? Economic infrastructure, social superstructure. But when it comes to Durkheim's concept, it is basically related to sacred and profane. So if not sacred, everything else is profane. Okay, those things which are not supernatural are profane. Okay, so that's about this answer. This short note you can write beautifully. You will get this short note. You can see previous year papers. Almost every 2 years they used to ask this question just like this. So it's very simple. What you need to do is talk one line about Durkheim, then start with the definition. In that you will pick the word sacred and explain what is sacred. Talk about beliefs, talk about practices, positive rights, negative rights, then talk about profane. So that will do. That's how you need to frame your answer.
Okay. Can you repeat the profane part, please?
Profane means apart from everything which is sacred, everything else is profane. So both are mutually exclusive. So if not sacred, it is profane.
Okay, how they are connected? If we are
Connected means, see, some things we consider as forbidden, fetishes, like supernatural force, and we worship that. Profane means everything else. So society comprises of these two, supernatural force and others.
Okay.
Like that, simple. That we don't want to give too much emphasis for this part. When it comes to religion, religion is defined on this basis. But when the question is asked, they will bring both these two. Okay, so we stress on this because in definition it is given like that only.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, sacred and profane things are related to religion.
Yes.
And economic infrastructure and superstructure is related to something production and the society. So all these two are related. I'm not able to understand.
I'm not saying these two are related. I'm saying two different people giving two different conception of society. For Durkheim, this is a conception of society. For Marx, society is all about production process. When it comes to Durkheim, society is all about social institutions, interactions, integrations, and everything in functional terms. So this is Durkheimian concept. There is no connection between these two. Both are entirely different. Both are writing in the same context, but they are using different perspective. Their approach towards society is different, so their view towards society is also different.
Yes.
Marx understands everything in terms of production. Even the religion also is understood in terms of production. Family and everything, every social institution understood in terms of production. Okay, so that is the definitional part. Now what we need to do? We need to go for causal explanation, right? Very important part, but very easy. So for that, he basically take the concept of primitive society. So to explain the cause, he used this method, indirect experiment. So this can be a question. So there is no need to separately prepare this one once you know this theory. If the question is about indirect experiment, or sometimes it is also referred to as single case experiment. So if you see this question, you can basically write the answer from this particular theory. Indirect experiment means rather than studying a complex phenomena, you study the most elementary forms of that phenomena and understand the cause of that elementary form. Same will be the cause for the most complex phenomena. I give you an example. If you try to study the modern day religion, can you study it just like that easily? It is very complex. It is having a lot of differences and a lot of deviations from elementary religion. So what Durkheim says is, instead of studying the more modern religion, which is very complex, you study some traditional religion, which is which is not that complex, which will be very simple to study. So if you can study this small traditional elementary religion, and if you can establish the cause of this, same will be the cause of this religion when it came into existence. So for example, when Christianity came into existence 2000 years back, what would have been the cause? Okay, same will be the cause for this religion also, according to Durkheim. But now if you try to establish the cause of Christianity or Islam or Hinduism, it will be very difficult because these religions passed through different stages. A lot of modifications are there, a lot of complexity and heterogeneity is there now. Even within Christianity, there are a lot of different sects, cults, etc. are there. So it will be very difficult to study and come up with a conclusive course in case of a particular modern complex religion. So instead of doing that, you study a simple forms of religion, and if you can establish the course of the simple religion, same will be the course of the complex religion when it came into existence. You got this point? That's what indirect experiment. You are indirectly studying this by studying this. Now when we proceed with the theory, you will understand further. You can write that. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now, so what he is doing is, he is not interested in studying the modern religion. That's it. So what he did, he basically took a very primitive religion from the Arunta tribes, from the Pacific Ocean region, Australian Aboriginals. Okay. So he took this particular tribe by referring to ethnographies. So he took this tribe and their information related by referring to what? Ethnographies. So first criticism you can make here itself, he only referred to ethnographies. He never went there. There is no direct observation. There is no proper collection of data. Can you say this is inductive approach? No. Proper collection of data and everything is actually required for inductive approach. You are just taking data from referring to ethnographies which you never went directly, which you have never seen directly, which you have never experienced, and still you are claiming that you are a positivist and you are using this inductive approach. So here the criticism is actually, you refer to those ethnographies which will suit your convenience. Already there was something in your mind, the theory is already there in your mind, and you referred to those ethnographies and you took those particular tribe to suit your conclusion. So can I say this is a deductive theory? Are you able to connect?
Yes,
Yeah. So that is actually the criticism. His theory of religion, even though he is claimed to be a positivist, he is claimed to be, using inductive approach, but his theories are like deductive approach or deductive theories. That is a problem. Okay. But let's not talk about criticism now. I've just raised a point once when we discussed about this. Let's look into the theory. So he actually took up this Arunta tribes, and he come up with an understanding that initially the primitive people were wanderers. Okay, so they just roam around in the forest, jungle, and they keep on collecting whatever items which is required, and very occasionally they come together. All the wanderers, all the primitive people will come together. Okay, and when they come together, they celebrate that. So there will be singing, dancing, exchanging all these things that they have collected, whatever is required for other people. All these exchanges will happen. So this state is what Durkheim understood as, he used this word state of exaltation or collective effervescence. State of, you need to write exactly the same word, state of exaltation or collective effervescence. Okay, so you need to write this in inverted comma. So he used this term to explain that particular situation. It is an extremely happy situation for the primitive people. So they are wanderers, they roam around, they meet occasionally. When they meet, they sing together, they dance together, and they celebrate, they do whatever they want. Okay, so this is actually understood as a state of exaltation, and they feel extremely happy. But this happiness is short term, they will separate soon. Okay, so when they are separate, this feeling disappears, this happiness will disappear, and don't you think they will feel like re-experiencing it again? So primitive people, they obviously want to re-experience the same feeling. Now what they think is, they are feeling so happy when they meet together at a particular place because of some supernatural force which was present over there. Okay, so they explain, the primitive men have not much knowledge, so they explain the happiness that they are getting in terms of some supernatural force which was present there in that meeting point. Okay, and they create a totem. Totem means, something which you worship. It can be a rock, it can be a tree, it can be anything. So they create a totem and signifying that supernatural force. Okay, so they experience this happiness in terms of supernatural force, and they create a totem to signifying this, he has written this word mana. Mana means that supernatural force. So to signifying that supernatural force, they create a totem. So what will happen is people will start coming again to this place to worship the totem. They consider this as superior. People will start coming again and people start worshipping this totem. Okay, so that is actually the cause of religion. So this totem, this creation of totem is actually the cause of religion. Now people start worshipping this totem, they start coming together again. So finally what Durkheim says is, you have created totem and all these things, and this is the reason for religion, but ultimately you are not worshipping the God. In terms of worshipping the God, you prefer to meet together. So when you are going for this masjid or when you are going for this church or temple, ultimately for what you are going, it is not for meeting God or to talk to God. You are coming to all these places to meet people. So it is not the God which is or who is worshipped. It is a society or the togetherness which is worshipped. So people love to be together. People love the state of exaltation. People want to re-experience the feeling. So they have created this totem for that purpose. And that became religion. Now people will every time come here, so you can re-experience that feeling every time you come here because people are together. That's the reason for religion according to Durkheim. I'll show you in a block diagram and you can use exactly the same. So what I'm saying is, primitive people were wanderers. Okay, so that is the first block. Then what he is saying, occasionally come together. Occasionally come together. This block diagram is enough for you. Come together, and then you can add the paragraphs in your words. Okay, just this thing has to be there in your mind. Nothing else is required to explain the course. Only this block diagram, you fix it in your mind. So that's why I'm doing this. State of exaltation. I'm not writing the other word, collective effervescence. You can write there. So repetition. So you can collective effervescence. Okay. So what will happen? The feeling disappears. Feeling disappears when they are separate. So that feeling will not be there anymore. So they explain this in terms of supernatural force, right? So they need to re-experience the feeling. They need to re-experience the feeling, okay, and they create a totem, creation of totem, signifying that supernatural force. I'm not writing it completely. Anyway, I'm going to give you this diagram. So this is actually the cause of religion. So that's how he explained the cause of religion. So he raised the point that if this is the cause of religion, don't you think you are actually worshipping the togetherness and society? Because God is what? God is the same, right? Why this totem was created? This totem was created to express that togetherness, happiness, that feeling, that supernatural force. So basically, you are worshipping that togetherness or that happiness, and you want to re-experience that. So all these church, masjid, etc. is created. Simple. You may not agree with it, and we don't want to agree with it, obviously, and we criticize maximum because primitive tribes and modern religion, different religions are coming in for different reasons. So all these are criticisms. When we criticize, we can use anything, but when we are explaining the cause, we have to tell whatever Durkheim says. So this is what Durkheim said, and that's what exactly I am telling to you. Okay? Any doubts here? Causal explanation is done. Tell me.
Sir?
Tell me.
Sir, so they were not believing in supernatural forces. Is it correct, sir? They come together for just for happiness and togetherness.
No. They believe in supernatural force. They believe that happiness is because of supernatural force.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, everywhere they can create totem. No, they create the totem at a particular place where they got happiness. Okay, so automatically they believe in supernatural force. Because of supernatural force only that happiness is there. So they are coming to see the supernatural force ultimately for what? For that happiness and to meet people, for the togetherness. So they are worshipping God for the sake of what? Getting that togetherness and happiness.
Okay, sir. I understood.
Yeah. Tell me, somebody else also.
The feeling disappears if they are separate. So that is feelings towards the God, sir, or what?
That collective effervescence which I have talked about, that state of exaltation, there is a feeling, no, when they are together, when they are celebrating, there was a feeling. So that is there when they are meeting together, but once they are separate, that feeling disappears.
Yes.
Okay, and they want to re-experience it again.
Okay, sir.
So to re-experience, they will come together at the same place.
Okay, sir, got it.
So Durkheim says what? This is the social cause. So religion is social. So it is a social cause. So he gave a very social cause because people want togetherness. People want that happiness. People love that collectivity. So that is the reason why religion came into existence.
Okay, sir.
But then Marx says different thing. Marx says it is created by the capitalist and all. We have already done with that. Any doubts here? Causal explanation part. Function is very simple. I'll explain the function. Can we go to the function now?
Yes, sir.
See, the function is in modern society, the function of religion is actually those who are following the same sets of beliefs and practices, they will be together. So those who are following the same beliefs and practices, they will be united under the same religion. So the modern society, the function of religion is basically integration. But do you accept this? You can say that when you are following the same set of belief and practices, they are together. So one religion is there, then it is good. But when there is a multiple religion, people are united in different religion, and ultimately that will create conflict. So here you can use this criticism, Merton. Merton says multiplicity of religion create conflict. So even though, see, only single religion in the world, then there is no problem. But when there are multiple religion, that's the reason why Hindu-Muslim conflict, no? So Hindus are together and Muslims are together, so against them there are problems. So that's what Merton highlights. You can also criticize by using Marx also. There is no integration, it is actually created by capitalists for opiating the masses to go to the workplace. Simple. So these are the criticisms that you can write. Okay? No response? Any problem?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Oh, sir, no problem.
Can we go to PDF?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So, Durkheim theory of religion explores yet another way to study a phenomena which is abstract but of profound importance in society. Okay, so it's an abstract phenomena, but he will study it in an objective way. Rejecting earlier intellectual and psychological theories of religion, Durkheim proposed a distinct sociological explanation. So, can I say he proposed a distinct sociological explanation? Yes, it is purely a sociological explanation. Correct, no? So you can get a question also like this. Durkheim gave distinct sociological theories. Analyze this statement or explain this concept or statement by using his theories. So you can write in case of division of labor you understood, in case of suicide also, in case of this theory of religion also. It's all about sociological understanding, distinct sociological explanation. All these are sociological explanations. He considered religion as a social fact, a phenomena which exists apart from individual. His theory of religion contained in the book Elementary Forms of Religious Life, and he defines religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices related to sacred things, that is to say, things set apart and forbidden. So he is saying what is sacred here. This means sacred. Okay, beliefs and practices. Now this is the second part. Second part is talking about what? Function, right? So this is the second part. Beliefs and practices unite them into a single moral community called a church. Means it's religion. All those who adhere to them. That means all those people who follow the beliefs and practices, okay, will be united into a single moral community, that is a religion. Thus, his conception of religion is based on two parts, the compositional aspect and the functional part. So first we have seen the composition. What is the composition? It is related to sacred, profane, it is related to beliefs, practices, sacred, etc. So this part is the composition of religion. This part is the function of religion. So from definition itself you'll get the clue. So in the first part, religion is the unified system of beliefs related to sacred things. Sacred things are those which are set apart and considered forbidden by the individual. Sacred things are all those things connected with supernatural and are considered fetishes by people. Any doubt with this particular word? We have explained it in marks exactly the same here. You maintain a sense of distance. People maintain a sense of distance with the sacred things. Durkheim also discusses the importance of beliefs and practices in the construction of sacred. Beliefs are the system of ideas which explain the sacred. So beliefs are ideas which explain sacred. So all these things has to be written if the question is asked about what? Sacred and profane. These are in the form of myths or other spiritual ideas. Okay. Practices are the rites or rituals which explain the way an individual behave with sacred. These are in the nature of system of rites which must be observed while interacting with the sacred. There are two types of such rites, positive rites and negative rites. So positive rites are those which help in reducing the distance between individual and sacred. For example, worshipping. Negative rites, it maintain or reinforcing the distance. For example, fasting and sacrifices. The conception of sacred forms the basis of Durkheim's view about society. According to him, society is divided into two parts or two worlds, that is sacred and profane. So here I'm talking about Durkheim's view about society. Okay, very important. Profane include everything apart from sacred. Okay, these two worlds are mutually exclusive. A person or object cannot be a member of both at the same time. One world has to be relinquished for entering into the other. Now let's look into the causal theory. In order to develop a causal functional theory of religion, Durkheim uses a method of indirect experiment. So this is actually going to be your short note. Okay, so you can write that directly from this theory. There is no need to separately prepare that. Or also sometimes referred to as single case experiment. According to him, modern religion is complex and is full of heterogeneities. Establishing its cause is very difficult. But at the same time, the simpler forms of religion exist. So if the cause of such simpler form of religion can be established, same will be the cause for modern religion. Okay, thus he chose the simpler forms or elementary forms to develop his causal functional theories. This method is referred to him as indirect experiment. So this is what you need to write for that particular question, and you take the example and you highlight it. Okay. He chose a primitive religion practiced among Arunta tribes of Pacific Ocean by referring to various ethnographies. He chose this people because in his view, no human society could be more simply structured, and therefore their religion cannot be explained in terms of further reducible forms. The religion practiced in this tribe is totemic, Here a totem is worshipped, like animal, rivers, etc. Totem is considered sacred in nature, and all people worship the same totem. And it represents the identity of the clan. This is not class, okay? Identity of the clan. Clan means a group, okay? According to Durkheim, if the cause of totem is established, same will be the cause of religion. Durkheim constructs a view of primitive society again on the basis of ethnography. According to him, the primitive men were wanderers. They kept on moving from one place to another in search of food and other things. Occasionally, they come together for some purpose. These occasional gatherings were the venues for exchanging basic things. They meet each other, they talk, they celebrate, sing and dance together. They feel something different, but the feeling disappears when they are alone, when they are separate. Durkheim terms this feeling as a state of exaltation or collective effervescence. Primitive men explain these feelings in terms of a force which exists when they are together. This belief in supernatural force find mentioned in various ethnographies and has been termed differently. They feel a strong desire to re-experience that feeling. Okay? So the primitive men created a totem as a representation of supernatural force and that feeling. The totem is considered as sacred, and when people assemble to worship the totem, the same feeling can be experienced. Thus, Durkheim established the cause of totem. He further states, if it is at once the symbol of God and society, that means totem, is it not because God and society are the one? Yes, that's what we have discussed. Actually, God and society are the one. We are not worshipping the God. Rather, what we are doing, we are worshipping the togetherness, and that is coming here. Ultimately, he proposes that religion is an expression of self-creation, and it came into existence because of the autonomous development of society. It is not the totem which is worshipped, but we worship the worship. That's enough. Worship the togetherness or society. You can see here the block diagram. Primitive people, this is enough for you to, you don't want to remember in the paragraph or anything, just keep this in your brain and mind, then it's done. Primitive people, wanderers, they occasionally come together and they celebrate, they talk, they dance, they sing, and all these things they will do. State of exaltation or collective effervescence. Okay, and what will happen? The feeling will disappear when they are separate. So they want to re-experience that feeling, and they create a totem signifying that mana means that supernatural force, and that is actually the cause of religion. Now the functional explanation. In the second part of the definition, Durkheim highlights the integrative role of religion. The beliefs and practices related to sacred bind people into a single community. People follow the similar moral code and thus live together as collectivity. In the societies having mechanical solidarity, religion represents collective conscience and integration of all people in terms of similarity. In traditional society, mechanical solidarity and everybody equal, so there is a collective conscience and integration is there. In the modern society, although the control of this collective conscience is reduced, but still religion integrate people, as the heterogeneous people tend to live together if following the same religion. So I have told you this Merton criticism and Marx criticism. Okay, already I have discussed this. Merton says multiplicity of religion create conflict, so it is not functional. Marx says religion is opium of masses. Thus, in contemporary society, where the societies are multi-religious, religion tend to integrate people within various communities. So here you can see within various communities, but between what is happening, there is a conflict, thereby stabilizing societies. So Merton says it destabilizes society. Further, Durkheim also explained the growing popularity of science. Now from here also you can get a question, okay? He considers science also a set of beliefs and practices, and people pursuing the science tend to associate with each other in terms of these beliefs and practices, thus generating a new state of collectivity. Like we all are together, no, we follow sociology and this beliefs practices, not otherwise the normal people, academicians and all, they create a group, they create a collectivity. So in that respect, he even stated that science is a modern day religion, because science is also about beliefs and practices. So set of beliefs, set of ideas, so those who follow the same, they will be together. That's it. Any doubts? Tell me, any doubts? Tell me.
That we say that Durkheim views on religion are more relevant to small and non-literate societies,
But
where there is a close integration of culture and social.
Yes. That is one of the criticism. But even that also we cannot say. Even this is not relevant for even small religion also. But still you can say that it is relevant for small societies.
Where there is integration of culture, social. And
Yes.
Sir, in last line, science is a modern day religion. Please explain in
Science is
science is based on evidence.
Science is a modern day religion. What is religion? What is the definition of religion? Religion is a set of beliefs and practices. That line is what you need to take here. So science is also a set of beliefs and practices. And second part of the definition is what? Those who follow the same set of beliefs and practices, those who are adhere to that beliefs and practices, they are united to a single moral community, church. So here, in case of science, those who are following the same set of beliefs and practices like science, biology or physics, etc., they are together, they are united under a community that is their own collectivity. So in that context, according to Durkheim's definition, science is a modern day religion.
Means if you take various disciplines like art and culture, those who affiliated to art and culture, so they are following that religion.
The problem with art and culture and all is there is no unified set of beliefs and practices there. But when it comes to natural science, it's unified set of beliefs and practices. For example, Newton's law. It won't change. Everybody believe that in case of physics. So everybody follow that law.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah. Tell me, Tejashni.
Well, I have a question.
Tell me.
Be the format to that, like, how should we answer?
Which
According
question?
to Durkheim, essence of religion in modern society. According to Durkheim, the essence of religion in the modern society is the same as religion in the primitive society.
So even in modern
How
society,
should we think?
exactly the same thing is what you need to write. Even in modern society also we love the togetherness. Even in heterogeneous society also we love to go to church and everything, because we meet people, and people wait for Sundays to go to the church, and people wait for Fridays to go to the masjid, so that you can if you need to worship, you can do that in your home also, but you are basically going to meet the people, talk to them, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in that context you can say.
Can we say that organic solidarity is also promoted by religion?
Organic religion is actually organic solidarity is more in terms of division of labor. We can't say organic solidarity is promoted by see, in case of religion.
So, but when the members of the society, like when they meet each other to achieve something, so can we say that even here organic solidarity?
Here they are not meeting to achieve something. Here they are meeting in terms of commonness. Okay, similarities. Because you are following the same sets of beliefs and practices. So that's not related to organic solidarity. Organic solidarity is because of differences. When you are depending on some other people. Here not dependence. Here we don't want to talk about mechanical solidarity also. Here it is commonness. Everybody is common.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so everybody is common. Everybody following the same beliefs, everything. So it is common. We don't want to talk about organic solidarity, but organic solidarity is more important when it comes to division of labor. You seek in others what you lack in yourself. So interdependence is there.
Okay, sir.
Deepika, tell me.
Sir, he studied about Aborigine tribes or Arundava tribes, sir?
Yes. Arunda tribes.
Arunda tribes. So I remember reading it as Aborigine.
Aboriginals.
Yes, of Central Australia.
Yeah, it is the same. Aboriginals means, see, different words we use for tribes. Aboriginals, Adivasis, all these are referred to as tribes. So actually,
Okay,
Arunta tribe is what you need to write. Australian Aborigines. The Arunta tribes are Australian Aboriginals only.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so in your answer, always try to write this Arunta tribes.
Okay, sir.
So,
Tell me.
in one line, people are not worshipping the totem, but they are worshipping the togetherness, happiness. That line. That
Yes.
line I couldn't understand. They are coming together for worshipping the God or for their happiness.
They are coming together in terms of worshipping the God. But ultimately, why they are coming? They are missing that togetherness, they are missing that happiness when they are separate. So they create the totem so that everybody will come together to worship the totem so that can re-experience the feeling. So effectively, they are looking for that feelings, they are looking for that happiness, and that's why they created the totem. So what we can say, or what Durkheim is saying is, effectively you are not worshipping the God or totem. You are here for the togetherness, you are here for the collectivity, you are here for the happiness. And even in modern day also, people are going to church by wearing all these good dress, okay, and all with all these good gadgets and the supercars and everything. It is for, meeting the people and talking to the people, showing off. All these are the objectives, not basically to worship the God.
Yes, correct. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I see in the discussions I'm giving you a lot of perspectives. I'm giving you a lot of critical analysis also. So you should be in a position to write, even if something I'm missing in the PDF. Whatever I'm saying, you should be in a position to write. And this is the kind of clarity and understanding you should have in each thinkers. Once we complete it, you should have that understanding. And for that, I don't think that you need to read this complex textbooks or anything. Ritzer and all. If you understood it here, then there is no point in reading that. You can just follow on this PDF and try to attempt the question. You will feel so confident. You will be in a position to write all the questions from thinkers. But once you understood the concept, for example, if you talk about Marx, once we understood what is actual idea of Marx, economic infrastructure, superstructure, anything can be interpreted in Marxian terms. Anything. Yeah, what else? Yes, you can include festivals in the answer. All these festivals and all is created for what? It is all created for, meeting people, celebrating. Okay, all these festivals are for celebrations. All these festivals are for the state of exaltation. It is not for God. Festivals are not for God. Festivals are for people to experience that, collective effervescence. Diwali, you are basically enjoying, you are not, worshipping over there. Similarly, all these festivals. Because in the festivals, you go to church, masjid, temples, and people, all the relatives will come together, so they all will meet. Otherwise, people may be in different areas, in different countries also, but in festivals they meet. So all these are for that collectivity. All these are for that happiness, nothing more. So religion is actually the symbol of happiness. People created it for happiness, according to Durkheim.
So is profane the opposite of sacred?
Opposite of sacred. That means profane don't have any supernatural force. That's a simple understanding. Sacreds are those things which are set apart, supernatural force. Profane means we don't care much. It's not supernatural.
Yes.
You don't want to write too much about profane. It is not there in the definition. He is not talking too much about that. So you can simply say this. That's enough. We have enough content with respect to sacred. You can give examples also for profane, like if you go to a temple, you see a tap over there. You use that tap and you don't maintain a sense of distance or anything. You can wash the hands, you can wash the legs. Those are profane. There is no supernatural force. But can you do the same with the idols in the temple? No, right?
No.
Yeah. So that you consider as sacred. That's the difference.
Okay, sir.
In the paper one, most of the questions are very much straightforward to the theories. Like they are asking directly about the alienation, or they are asking about the mass, any concept of mass or Durkheim or what is mode of production data. Those are very much straightforward. So I guess all the notes that are provided in the PDF, those will be enough and need not to add anything extra, I guess.
See, even the PDF itself you cannot write completely, right? So
Yeah,
you need to sort it out from the PDF also. You need to pick the best content from the PDF.
Yeah, we are doing that. Yeah,
In
we are
fact,
doing only the,
and in fact, you will feel very difficult to get the best content from that, because the entire PDF is very good. Everything, every single line which is written in that, you don't feel like ignoring anything. So there is no point in reading anything, and why unnecessarily wasting your time? See, the optional strategies, I'll tell you simple. Read one book 5 times rather than reading 5 books one time. Read one book 5 times and keep it in your mind, understand the concepts, try to reproduce it. Just follow that. Keep reading, revising, that's it. But in prelims, you can read whatever possible. When you get into the options, you will remember something. But that's not the strategy for mains.
yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Sir, why does the primitive comes to worship the society as sacred?
I didn't get you. Why?
Why does the primitive man come to worship the society as sacred, or why does he invent a sacred symbol like totem?
Because he wants that collectivity. He thinks that when they are joining together, he experiences a happiness. He believes that he don't have any other knowledge or explanation. So he believes that there exists some supernatural force, and that is the reason for the happiness. So he want to experience that happiness again. So he defined a totem, and he create a totem, and he start worshipping the totem. You see that PK movie? Amir Khan is creating a totem and people start worshipping over there again.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly similar to that. But that is for one reason, here for another reason. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So you go through the PDF. I think I didn't send you, no? I'll send you now itself. Okay? I'll share it. You read that, and you just need to know that, block diagram, basically. That itself is enough. Nothing else is required. Function is very simple, it is all about integration, and it is there in the definition also. You can use the criticism also. Now it is completely done. Even the critical analysis is also done. 2 thinkers to criticize, that's well and good. That's more than enough. Can we stop here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So kindly share the PDF.
Yeah, now I'm sharing. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, see you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.